The music, the walks, the charity work. That was all only part of a much more complicated situation. He had been previously married to Elizabeth Howseth, and during that time, Elizabeth built a public profile in Nevada, eventually serving as a state senator. From the outside, they appeared to be functioning as a proper family, raising children whilst managing both private life and public responsibilities. But that image didn't last. In 2011, a serious incident took place inside the household. Daniel was arrested following allegations made by Elizabeth. Those allegations stated that he had physically assaulted her and that he had also made threats of an intimate nature. And I know that intimate isn't the right word when something's non-consensual, but I'm just having to play by the rules here. According to reports at the time, the claims included that he had struck her and that he had made statements suggesting that he would disgustingly violate her. These details entered the public record as part of his arrest. However, it's very important to state that this case did not proceed to a conviction. The charges were later dismissed. So there was no final legal ruling to establish if the allegations were proven or not. So the allegations exist. It seems that they must have been serious enough to lead to Daniel's arrest, but they were not tested through a full trial, and no conviction followed. So that leaves this whole incident pretty unresolved. It does remain part of the documented history of their relationship, but there's no definitive legal conclusion. What is clear though is that the relationship did not recover from its problems. Daniel and Elizabeth divorced, having 3 children. Following their separation, custody arrangements were put in place for their children, and for a period of time those arrangements seemed to just work. But the earlier incident did not simply disappear for the family, even though it kind of did legally. It always remained in the background of the family dynamic. And over time, those underlying tensions began to resurface, because nearly a whole decade later, the structure that had been in place started to move once again. And in 2020, one of their daughters, named Sierra, she started spending more time with Daniel once again. And in doing so, this would bring past issues back into focus. When Sierra started spending time with Father Daniel once again, this wasn't an informal arrangement. It really couldn't be that simple anymore. Instead, it had to be legally defined. During one of Sierra's visits to Father Daniel, she just stayed with him rather than returning home to her mother, Elizabeth. This decision led to immediate legal action. A court order was then issued requiring Sierra to return. This is another important moment in the timeline too, because the situation had moved beyond just a family disagreement and back into formal legal territory. Sierra did not just return voluntarily, at least not in first. Instead, communication